Hello and welcome to the tier list channel. Right now we're going to be ranking every single mainline 3D Zelda game. So it doesn't look like a lot because there's a lot not included. it's on the home consoles, not on portable consoles, and I will not be including remakes. So Spirit Tracks, Phantom Hourglass, those were for what's it called, 3DS, DS, so they're not included here. And also, Twilight Princess remake won't count. So let's get on with it. Let's see here. First, we're gonna start with the classic of classics, Ocarina of Time. A gem. A lot of people call it the best game ever made. Absolutely amazing. I played through it 2 years ago. I've played through it like since I was, I don't even know, since it came out. One of my favorite games ever. Some people say it's overrated, and it's because it's outdated. It looks bad, and they sort of have a point. This is not the remake we're talking about. This is just the original. So I want to give it S in my heart, but people have a point. It's just not, doesn't look that great anymore. The graphics are nostalgic to me, but they don't look amazing. Next, Majora's Mask. Oh, also just so great. I have this thing where I feel like Majora's Mask is a better game than Ocarina of Time, but it's only a better game because Ocarina of Time exists. So Majora's Mask is sort of strange and weird, and I love that about it, but the thing that makes it work to me is that we come from this very classic tale of a hero, and then it becomes darker and weirder, and all these things that we know are sort of distorted and shown in the new light. So I feel like they go hand in hand. They should share the A tier. If it wasn't for the graphics, they would be S tier. Wind Waker. Like, how am I ever gonna put anything less than A? I don't think I can. Well, Skyward Sword is here, so Wind Waker. So much fun. I don't know. I want to put an A, but I also know it's not as much of a classic to me. Although I played it a lot when I was a kid. But I feel like a part of Zelda is having these iconic dungeons. You know, in Ocarina of Time, it's the in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, it's the temples, and each temple is tied to something very specific. And Wind Waker does it too, but the first dungeons, the dungeon design is not the dungeon design is great, but they're not as how do you call it? Iconic. Oh, that's the wrong word. I like the fact that in Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, there are these very iconic temples, and each have their own version of a biome and a theme and all that. And the fact that they're all temples, and in the Wind Waker, it's more you go to Dragon Roost Island and the Forbidden Forest, which are great dungeons, but they're a little bit, I don't know. This may be just like some OCD thing where I want everything to be called a temple. That's very possible. I'm gonna rate it as B, even though it should be here. Like, it's It's really I don't know. Yeah, it's gotta be B. That's also just because of the art style. I actually love the art style. Um, but when it came out, it's people were a little bit disappointed because they were expecting something that looked a lot more like reality, a little bit more realistic. Now, Twilight Princess. I think this is an underrated gem. I think people play the game and notice the fact that you play as the wolf for a part of the game, and then they just hate it because that's weird. I don't think it adds anything that bad to the game. So, and I love the story of the Twilight Realm and you know, there are a lot of theories around this game and the Twilight Realm. How the Tweely are actually the Sheikah, and it's very interesting and it's very dark. Which this game was influenced by people's response to the Wind Waker. Like since they thought the Wind Waker was too toony, so they made it very adult, and people actually sort of hold that against this game, which I don't feel like is fair, because it is a really good game. It's really interesting. I don't think it's as good as the Wind Waker, but it's definitely worthy of a seat here. Skyward Sword. We go right down here, I think. The thing is, it's not a bad game. It's just wasted potential. When I started playing the game and I saw Skyloft, I thought, oh great, I'm gonna explore all these floating islands, and it's gonna be so great. And what will I find, and what's beneath the clouds? And you feel like it's this really open game where you can do anything you want and go everywhere you want. When in reality, it's insanely restricted. It's just so linear, and it's to become even more linear than games made like what is it, 10 years, no, more than 10 years earlier. That's just not a good thing. And then I don't like the motion controls either. I feel like in Twilight Princess they work because you can just wiggle your hand a little bit and that'll register as a hit. But it annoys me how much you have to wiggle around to play this game. Swimming is awful. Don't like the Bokoblin design. Hate the surprise ending with Demise. Like, oh, it's Girahim doesn't matter now. He was just a sword or something, and now it's I don't know. It's supposed to be this awesome origin story of how the great evil Ganon is reincarnated again and again. And I feel like Demise is just plopped in at the end of the game, which, if they'd had a rivalry going the entire game, and you talked to Demise throughout the game, and then you destroyed him at the end, that would make a little bit more sense. But it's just like Demise is this evil demon king, and and then a kid just comes down and defeats him, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna haunt you forever and ever and ever, just because, I don't know, it seems weird. Why not haunt the people who sealed him, who kept him imprisoned? Whatever. Lastly, Breath of the Wild. S. It's great. Even people who don't like Zelda like this game. Super open, feels like Zelda, while at the same time being nothing like the other games. Great game. That's it for the tier list. Thanks for watching, and see ya.